Hi, my name is Patricia Prudencio, and today I'm going to be talking about the occipital lobes and the frontal lobes. And as you can see, the occipital lobe is located in the back of the brain. Um, the occipital cortex is the primary visual area of the brain. It receives projections from the retina, from where different groups of neurons separately encodes different visual information such as color, orientation, and motion. Pathways from the occipital lobes reach the temporal and parietal lobes and are eventually processed consciously. Two important pathways of information originating in the occipital lobes are the dorsal and ventral streams. The dorsal streams projects to the parietal lobes and process where objects are located, while the ventral streams project to structures in the temporal lobe and process what objects are. Case study: Synesthesia is a neurological phenomenon in which information from different senses is blended. A common form of grapheme color synesthesia, where letters and numbers are perceived as having specific colors. For example, the number 7 is yellow. A number is imaging studies highlight activation in the color processing region of the occipital cortex. When individuals with letters or numbers, an intriguing study by Wolfgang Kuhler suggests that some forms of synesthesia may be extremely common in humans. Associated function is vision, and some associated cognitive disorders are neurobiological correlation of schizophrenia and also bipolar disorder. Because damage to the occipital lobes can cause visual hallucination, a number of studies have found evidence of overgrowth in the occipital cortex in individuals with autism. Changes in blood flow in the occipital lobe have been correlated with depression. Associated with damage are hallucinations, blindness, inability to see color, motion, orientation, and synesthesia. Research reviews, Hubbard and Ramachandran reviewed the neurobiological correlation of synesthesia, and in 2008, Isaki finds abnormalities in numbers of brain regions, including the occipital lobes, in individuals with late-life depression. McCarley and colleagues examined MRI data from schizophrenic patients, which shows abnormalities in a number of brain structures, including the occipital lobes. Sperling and colleagues used MRI to examine neural correlations of color grapheme synesthesia. Tate and colleagues review evidence of overgrowth of the occipital region in autism. To the frontal lobe, as you can see, it is located in the very front of the brain. They're parts of the cerebral cortex and are the largest of the brain structure. They are the main site of so-called higher cognitive functions. The frontal lobe contains a number of important substructures, including the prefrontal cortex, orbital frontal cortex, motor and premotor cortices, the bronchus area. These substructures are involved in attention and thought, voluntary movement, decision-making, and language. Case study: although no longer a common practice, approximately 40,000 people in the United States have received prefrontal lobotomy to create a variety of personality and cognitive disorders. This highly controversial practice involves destroying or severing the connections to the prefrontal cortex and often results in impaired voluntary behavior. Associated functions, executive processes, voluntary behaviors such as decision-making, planning, problem-solving, and thinking, voluntary motor control, cognition, intelligence, attention, language, processing, and comprehension, and many others. Associated cognitive disorder: the frontal lobe are the brain's largest structures and consequently have been associated with a large number of disorders. These include ADHD, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder. Associated with damage: paralysis, loss of spontaneity in social interactions, mood changes, and inability to express language, atypical social skills, and personality traits. Research review. Aaron and colleagues review evidence from a number of sources that a neural network consists of neurons in the frontal lobe and basal ganglia and is involved in inhibiting motor movements. This next word may be impaired in ADHD. Berg and colleagues examine how the maturation of the frontal areas of the brain facilitates self-regulations. This may have special relevance or ADHD. Hahn reviews the part played by frontoparietal activities arriving at cognition and the role of activity in representing behavioral relevant information. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.